느낌이 좋아요.
Okay, so I think I didn't put it at the right time. Let's repeat together. Anyways, so 가을이 오는 느낌이 좋아요. So we will be translating this sentence right now. We have 가을이, which is a season. Does any of you guys remember which season is 가을? Comment down below if you guys remember which season would be 가을. So we have seen it a lot of times before. So there is also a small trick to help you remember what is the difference, especially in between 가을 and 겨울, which are both very, very similar. Both of them are seasons. Comment down below if you guys remember or know what 가을 would mean. Which season is this? Comment down below. I will be giving you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is correct. You guys are correct. 가을이 is the season fall. So like I mentioned, the small trick that I have for you guys to remember when is 가을 is, as you see, right, it is starting by ka, which here is the letter compared to A in English. So let's say we go with autumn, it is starting with an A as well. So you can remember, okay, A equals 가을, which is autumn, right? Because for example, winter would be 겨울, which a lot of people get confused by those two because they are both starting in 기역, right? But they are slightly different. So let's jump to the next word. We have 오는. Does any of you guys know what that would mean? 오는, this comes from a verb originally. Does any of you guys know which verb that would be from? However, like you guys know, in Korean, a lot of time you can transform verbs into nouns or adjectives. So in this case, it comes from a verb that is transformed into an adjective, I guess we can say adjective. So comment down below if you guys would know which verb that would be from. Does any of you guys know the answer? Which verb that would be from? Comment down below if you know the answer. I will give you a few more seconds to try and guess before I give you the answer. Thank you so much for the like. Thank you. So I'm going to be giving you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. You're doing amazingly. So here it is from the verb 오다, which is to come. Conjugated, you can, like a lot of people said, 화요, right? However, the original tense would be 오다. So here it is the verb coming, to come. Anyways, so here it's like saying when the fall is coming, right? When it's starting to get into fall season, we have 느낌이. Does any of you guys know what 느낌 would mean? Does any of you guys know what 느낌 is? Comment down below if you guys know what 느낌 would be. Does any of you guys know the meaning of that word? Comment down below if you guys know what that means. So I'm not sure if we have seen it previously in my Korean study session, but this is a word that is used very, very often. So comment down below if you guys know the answer. 느낌, what does that mean? I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. 느낌 would be feeling. So you know that whenever you see that word, there is either a specific emotion, okay, or like an attribute to a feeling, okay, that will be showcased afterwards. So it's very rare that you will just see like 느낌 on its own. It kind of complements something else. So in this case, it can be an emotion, or in this case, this is not very an emotion, but something that is complementary to 느낌, which is feeling. So feeling how? 좋아요, which is from the verb 좋다. As you guys know, that there is 3 levels of enjoyment, like I keep calling it in Korean. So there is the first level, which is to be good. So sometimes some Korean people will use it as to say, I like something, but it's not like crazy like. It's, to be good. So when something is good, it's like the first level. Then we have 좋아하다, which is the second level, to like. So this one is really to like, but in some contexts, Korean people will still use the verb 좋다 to mean they like it or it's good. So here it's like feeling good. So we can translate to she likes it. She likes the feeling of when fall time is coming. So that would be how we translate this sentence. So fall, coming, feeling good. Yeah, hada because it's action verb, like the liking goes to your heart. Yeah, exactly. So yes, that would be how this sentence would be translated. So let's jump to the next sentence. However, if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below.
여러분은 가을을 좋아하세요?
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. 여러분은 가을을 좋아하세요? So let's translate everything together. We have 여러분은, as you guys are definitely familiar because I say that in all of my Korean study live streams. 여러분 is a word that you want to use when you want to say everyone, guys. So this is mainly a word that includes everyone you are talking to. So you will most likely say that to the people that are listening to you at the moment. So 여러분, everyone, guys. 가을을, so we know that it is fall time once again. And 좋아하세요. So this is a form of questions in a polite way. So it's basically asking us if we like fall time. However, in this case, a lot of the time you will see 세요 in Korean when it is associated with like a request. But here in this case, it's not really a request, but kind of a form of formality because that would be weird to request if you like fall time, right? I mean, I guess that can still work, but that would be a little bit awkward if we translate that directly from English, right? Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So that would be how this sentence would be translated. So everyone, fall time. Do you like? Sorry. I kind of got a freeze for a second. 정말 고마워요. 네. Okay, so let's continue with the next one because this sentence was very, very easy. So let's see if the next sentences will be slightly harder.
한국의 가을은 어떨지 생각해 본 적이 있나요?
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. 한국의 가을은 어떤지 생각해 본 적이 있나요? So let's translate, okay, what that means together. So we have 한국의. Does any of you guys remember what 한국의 would mean? So we know what 한국 as its own, what that means, but whenever it is associated with that particle, what does that mean? Comment down below if you guys know the answer. Okay, with this particle, what does it changes in 한국? Okay, comment down below if you guys know the answer. So 한국에, what does that mean? Even if you are not sure what that means, you can still try and guess and comment. What does that mean? Comment down below. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to try and guess what 한국에 would mean. Comment down below if you guys know the answer, or even if you don't know, you can still try and guess the meaning of 한국에. What does that mean? I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So these are great guesses. So these are great guesses. However, we know that 한국 is something related to Korea. Okay, so here in this case, it either means something that is associated with Korea as the country, and then we have the e particles. This is not the same e as the location particle that we see a lot of times in my Korean study session. So this one is very, very particular because this is a possessive. Okay, so this is a possessive of this word, which is Korea. So in English, you can translate that to apostrophe S. So something that is possessive to Korea. So in this case, it would be, right, something that is possessive to Korea would be 가을은, which is fall. So here we would say like Korean fall. I don't know if that makes sense in English, but like Korean's fall time, I guess. So like basically fall time in Korea. That is how we can translate that in English. However, like I mentioned, this is more like a possessiveness of the country in Korea, which is the fall time. So the apostrophe S, yes, exactly. So it's like Korea's fall. That is a little bit how you can translate that in this part. So here you need to remember that whenever you see this particle all the time, this is a possessive of this word, okay? So this is most of the time, right? What do they possess? Okay, I guess that would be fall time in this case. Does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully it does. Thank you so much for the like. Also, if you guys are new, don't forget to follow me just right here. I go live 3 to 5 times each week where we study Korean together just like this. So now that it makes sense, let's jump to the next part of this sentence. So here we have 어떨지. Oh, I think I read earlier 어떤지. I didn't see the D right here. I just like 어떨지. I'm not sure. This is something related to what, but I'm not very sure in that context. What does it mean? 어떨지? What if? How about? Ah, okay. I will write that down below. So what about? That would make sense. Let me just take a second to write it down on my computer so that I don't. What is fun is that with those Korean study session, even myself, right, I learn new words. So that is amazing. So 어떨지, I think that is how we pronounce it. 어떨지. It is like what about? Okay. Oh, sorry. I think the screen. Okay. So 어떨지 would be what about? Okay. 생각해. So it is from the verb 생각하다. Does any of you guys know what this verb mean? What is the verb 생각하다? What does that mean? However, in this context, it doesn't have the purpose of a verb anymore. It's more like, I guess, a noun. So what is 생각해? Comment down below if you guys know what the verb 생각하다 mean. Comment down below the answer. I will give you a few more seconds to comment down below the answer while I drink a little bit of water. That is amazing. You guys are doing amazingly. Hi, I would like to know can I have your Instagram? Yes, of course. My Instagram is call me Audrey. You can also find the link under my description. So all of my social media, my Instagram, my YouTube channel are all under my description. But if you want my Instagram ID, it is call me Audrey. So I often post updates on when I go live or things related to Korean. So feel free to follow me right now. So you guys are correct. 생각해 is from the verb 생각하다, to think. However, in this context, it has more the purpose of a thought. Okay, so here it's more like thought as a noun than like, thinking as a verb. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So, right, what about the thought? We have 본, which is originally from the verb 보다, which is like to see or to watch, but I think in this context it means more like, I think it's like something that is with like this, because sometimes you have a lot of expressions that are being used with the word 보다 that doesn't necessarily mean to see. So I'm not sure what toki would mean in this case, so I will just double check to see what toki would mean. A lot. That is another emphasis word. Interesting. It can mean enemy too, but I'm not sure in this case. To seem. Yes, maybe together. Let me just see, because here the verb 보다, in this case, it's more like an adjective, if I'm not mistaken. So let me just see together if there is some type of. Okay. Yeah, that would be correct. So here, like 본적이 would be together with the verb 있나요, so all three of them are together. Let me just go see on 바빠고. Here it says like to experience, but I just want to see if like we, for example, 잠시만요. Let's put it like that. I'm not sure. 있나요? But 본적이, just like that, it says like to experience. Here, does it say that? But here on Naver, it means like to experience. But here it's like more like, have you ever seen? Okay, so this is literally the verb 보다. Have you seen before? Yes, I guess that would be correct in this form, right? All together would be like, have you seen before. 부족기, a lot. So on its own, what is a good way to remember sentences? Do you mean like the order of sentences, like to understand, or like remember like what sentences mean, like expressions? Because both of them would be different, right? To understand, you need to do other things than if it's just to remember. Do you put your picture on Instagram? Yes, I have my picture on Instagram. Thank you so much for the follow. Okay, so here it's like more like have you ever seen? So this is literally from the verb 보다. So this is not like the expression I was saying before. Okay, so that makes sense. So here they say more like is like. Okay, this is more like how they translate that. But here, it's more like, have you ever seen, right? Or have you ever thought about, I think here, experience would be a better way to translate that. I'm not quite sure. Please let me know if any of you guys know the answer. But here, it's like Koreans fall. How about, right? Thought. I'm trying to think of a better way to rephrase it. If you guys give me a second. Because here it's from the verb ita, to be or to have, depending on the context on the sentence. And like we have seen yesterday, this ending often reflects a question. So we know it's like, here in this case, I guess we could say, have you ever seen? That could be a better way than like, have you been, I don't know. Can you please write your Instagram account on here? Yes, this is Call Me Audrey. So right now I cannot write comments, but if you go on my profile, there should be the link in my description, if I'm not mistaken. Or let me just write it very quickly if I have time. Call me Audrey. 이렇게. Okay, so let's continue. So here it's basically saying like, have you ever thought of what Korean falls is like? Okay, so that would be like how we translate that, a better way from Korean to English. But if we directly translate, that would sound like weird. So that is why they rephrase it more like this. So let me go over word by word, okay? So Koreans fall. What about thought? Have you ever seen? Or yeah, that would be how each word would make sense in the sentence. But like I mentioned, it's hard to create a correct translation of all those words directly from Korean to English, because if we translate that directly, it doesn't make sense. So this translation would be like the most accurate version of explaining it in English. So let's jump to the next sentence. But if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below, and I will try my best to explain any part that you guys didn't understand. So let's continue now.
먼저 한국의 가을은 정말 아름다워요.
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. 먼저 한국의 가을은 정말 아름다워요. So let me repeat a little bit slower for you guys. 먼저 한국의 가을은 정말 아름다워요. So let's just say everything together. We have 먼저. Does any of you guys know the meaning of 먼저? Do you guys know what that means? Comment down below if you guys know what 먼저 would mean. Have you guys ever seen that word before? Comment down below if you guys know what 먼저 would mean. What does that mean? Comment down below if you guys know the answer. I will give you a few seconds to try and guess the meaning of 먼저. Also, if you are not sure of what it means, you can still try and guess, as here we are a free space for learning. So I always suggest you guys still try even if you don't know the answer, because that is the best way that you can learn, by even trying. So comment down below. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to try and guess what 먼저 would mean. So I'll give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you are correct. That would be first. So firstly, I'm not sure if we can say that in English. Does that even exist? But as you guys probably know, if you are familiar with my Korean study live stream, I tend to invent a lot of words in English. So firstly sounds good in my head, but maybe it's not a real word. I'm not sure. But here they say like first of all, but like firstly, first of all are all words that would work well with 먼저. So whenever you have multiple ideas, right, that you want to say, you can just add 먼저 at the beginning of the sentence, make it first, and then continue with the other points later on. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So 먼저 first. And then we have 한국에. So now I'm going to test you guys to see if you remember well. What does 한국에 would mean? Comment down below. Right? We have seen that word about 5 minutes ago. So comment down below if you guys know what 한국에 would mean. Comment down below if you guys know the answer, what 한국에 would mean, right? So if you guys listen well, you might know the answer of this word. So comment down below if you guys know what 한국에 would mean. I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. This would be Korea. So something that is possessive, once again, that will be fall time as well. So here in English, we can translate that to the words apostrophe S. So something that belongs to Korea, which in this case would be fall time. So fall time in Korea is how we would translate that in English. However, here it's more the possessiveness of Korea, which would be the fall time. Okay, so that is how we would view this part of the sentence. Now let's jump to the next one. We have 정말. So we have seen the word a lot before. So what does 정말 mean? Comment down below if you guys know what 정말 would mean. If you watch a lot of dramas, you might be familiar with this word. So this is a word that you see a lot of times everywhere. So comment down below if you guys know the meaning of 정말. We have also seen it a lot of times previously in my Korean study live stream. So comment down below. I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys are correct. You're doing amazingly today once again. So 정말 is either really or very. So like I keep mentioning, this is an emphasis word. So whenever you want to emphasize another word, right, you can use 정말. It has the same purpose of, for example, 아주, or there's another one that right now I don't remember that we see very often. We have 정말, 아주, there's another one, but right now somehow I cannot seem to remember. So these are emphasis words that whenever you want to emphasize a word in any shape or form, you can use one of them. So here we have 아름다워요, which is from the verb 아름답다. No, 아름다운. Wait, what is the original tense of this verb? Let me just check because I remember, but comment down below if you guys know the meaning of that. I don't want to show you because 아름답다. Yes, 아름답다. This is the original tense. That's what I thought, but I was like, huh? I was not sure. So 아름답다, comment down below if you guys know the meaning of this verb. So what does that mean? 아름다워요, which is from the original tense of the verb 아름답다. Comment down below if you guys know the meaning. This has a very similar meaning of the verb 예쁘다, if I'm giving you a very big hint right now. So if you guys know the meaning of 예쁘다, you might know the meaning of 아름다워요, which is very the same meaning. So comment down below if you guys know what 아름다워요 would mean. Comment down below. I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. It is beautiful, okay? So it's saying that first of all, Korean fall time is really beautiful or pretty. I guess we can say that as well because both of those words are pretty much the same, pretty and beautiful. So that would be how we can translate this sentence. So first, Korean's fall time really beautiful. That is how we translate this sentence. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So let's jump to the next sentence. However, if you have any question about that one, feel free to comment down below.
가을에는 나뭇잎 색깔이 변하잖아요.
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together now. 가을에는 나무십? Is this how she pronounced it? Since there is after that, let me just repeat to make sure I pronounce it correctly. But I'm pretty sure this is it.
가을에는 나뭇잎 색깔이 변하잖아요.
Ah, okay, no, she pronounced like an N. 나뭇잎 색깔이 변하잖아요. Okay, so let me repeat one more time this sentence. 가을에는 나뭇잎 색깔이 변하잖아요. So let's translate everything together. So we have 가을에는. So with those particles, do you guys know what that means together? Comment down below what 가을에는 would mean. Does any of you guys know what 가을에는 means? So we know that 가을 is fall time. Okay, the season of fall, but with the e particle, which is a location or a time particle, what does it makes it in English? How can we translate 가을에 together from Korean to English? So, we know the word on its own, but we also need to understand the meaning whenever some type of particles are added because it gives us further information into the sentence. So comment down below if you guys know what 가을에 would mean. Does any of you guys know the translation? 가을에, what does that mean? Comment down below if you want to try and guess the meaning of 가을에는 with the particles. What does that mean? Even if you are not sure, you can still try to guess the meaning of that with the particles. So I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is correct, Rani. So 가을에는 would be in the fall time. So in the fall season, that is how we can translate with the particles. So the e particle, a lot of times, depending on the context, can either mean in, on, or at. So that would be the English translations for this particle. Okay? And then we have 나뭇잎. That's how she said it, right? 나뭇잎. Does any of you guys know what that is? So we have 나무, which normally is tree. So, the trees outside. We have 잎, which is leaf. So what does it becomes together? 나뭇잎. Comment down below if you guys know what that means. So comment down below if you guys would know what that means, basically. I basically gave you the answer, but comment down below, right, if you want to try and guess the meaning of 나뭇잎. What does that mean? So I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. That would be, if we translate literally, it would be like tree leaves. But we can just say leaves because we know that, most leaves comes from trees, right? So as you need to remember, 나무 is tree and 잎 is leaves. So together it becomes like leaves that comes from trees. We have 색깔이. Does any of you guys know what that means? So this word might be slightly harder for some of you guys, but does any of you guys know what 색깔 would mean? 색깔, what does that mean? Comment down below if you know the meaning of that word. That might be slightly harder. You still have some context in... Oh, I see a lot of great answers. So you guys still know the answer for that one. That is amazing. So yes, that is correct. 색깔 is the word that you want to use when you are talking about colors. So for example, when you name colors, you might be familiar that it is all ending with 색, right? So the colors have, right, 색 all at the ends, which mean color, but the word color itself is 색깔. So you cannot just write 색 whenever you want to just say color as a noun. So not a specific color, but just all the colors. Okay? And then we have 변하잖아요. So I guess it is from the verb 변하다? I guess it is from the verb to change, if I'm not mistaken, because there is different ways to say change in Korean, but I think this one is very specific. So 변하잖아요. So I know this is from a type of changing, To turn, yes, exactly, to become different. But I think it's only used in some context. So for example, with the colors, right, that are changing. So I'm not sure if like you can use that, for example, if you are changing clothes, you cannot use probably that one. So I'm not sure if it's only specific to a few things. But here, 변하다 is from the verb to change. So together it becomes in the fall time, okay? The colors of the leaves, okay, changes as a question. So here they say changes, right? So here, when it comes to fall time, right? Mostly, I don't know if in all countries, probably, right? I'm not sure. Because I live in a country that is normal, and I know in Korea it's normal too. So I'm not sure in your countries, guys. Okay, this is a genuine question to you guys. Does the leaf changes where you are from? Like, does it change color? Please let me know if it's like in most countries or if it's just in like specific countries, because the only places I travel to, the leaf changes. So I'm very, yes, in Spain. In Spain too. Okay, that is amazing. I'm glad to know that. It's not just in some specific countries. I mean, maybe it's some specific countries too, but I'm happy to hear that there are more than just like, for example, North America and Korea, that the leaf changes during fall time. So that is amazing. So let's jump to the next sentence. However, if you have any question about that one, feel free to comment down below, but we will jump to the next one right now. Yes, in Germany, they changed the colors too. Oh, really? That is amazing. That is amazing. So I guess in Europe too, a lot of countries, their leaf changes, right? So that would make sense. That would totally make sense.
초록색에서 빨간색 아니면 노란색으로 변해요.
Okay, so there are a lot of colors right here. Change is 변하잔. So change is this one. So it's just 변하다. So the 잖나요 is kind of a conjugation of the verb itself. But the verb to change would just be 변하다. So this one is to change or turn a certain way. So I think it's only used in specific context. I can see that there is some hanja. So if you guys are familiar with hanja, you might know what pyeon would mean. I'm familiar with hanja, but not all the hanja, not word, but the hanja thingy. But I have not seen pyeon so far. However, this is interesting. Do you have any tips on getting better at reading Korean? The best tip that I have for you guys is to literally do whatever I do. So try to read as much as possible. So you can either read those Korean podcasts and try to, are you talking about reading like pronunciation? Or are you talking more about understanding what you are reading? Because both of them, you need to do things that are different. 잖아요 is end sentence. What does that mean? Yes, this is like kind of ending of verbs. A lot of times it is kind of in a negation way. However, in this case, I'm not sure this is in negation. Let me just confirm. 잖아요. Grammar. Okay, yes. So here, because I confuse with something else, but here it's whenever you want to get 잖나요. You add that when you want to get confirmation from the other person. So like we saw in the translation, it said right at the end. If it wants to, does it want to work? Here, like it says right. So 변하다, to change, and 잖나요 is more of an ending of the verb that makes it a question where you request not the response, but you want the other person to agree with you. So confirmation, okay. Yeah, exactly. So you kind of want the confirmation to people, but not necessarily in really a confirmation way, more like, right, it's like that, right? So you are asking, but you already know the answer. So when I read out loud, I have the pronunciation right. I just don't know what I'm reading. Okay, in that case, what I suggest is really for you to work on what we are doing right now. So, like you said, you don't have trouble reading out loud. The issue is understanding. So, what I suggest is either to read easy Korean books. 안녕하세요, Neri. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here as well. It has been a while. So, what I wanted to say, yes, understand. So either read easy Korean stories. I have some that I always recommend to you guys. Let me just show it to you. Or if you don't want to purchase anything, I also suggest to try doing those Korean podcasts. But these books I really, really like. I have them downstairs. I don't have them here. But it's basically very easy books that you can do to read and understand better. And what's good with that is that, first of all, on the first part, you will have on one side Korean and the other side English translations. And after that, you will have the same stories again, only in Korean. So, and what's good is that the same words keep repeating again and again, so you get more vocabulary. So that's great. Yes, exactly. So I really, really recommend those books. If not, like I said, just do like we are doing here, the Korean podcast. So you try to translate any words that you understand and try to make a sentence out of it. And then you can correct yourself with like this plugin, for example, that is called Language Reactor, if you guys are interested. So I really recommend this plugin, which will be this right here. So you can then confirm if you were correct. At first, it will be very, very difficult, but the more you do it consistently, the easier it will get. Like, for example, I started doing those Korean study podcasts, study live sessions, in January this year, and I have improved so much just by understanding the sentences since January by just doing that like 3 to 4 times each week. So I really recommend you do that to improve your understanding as well. 나는 잘 지낼 거 있어. 너? 저도 잘 지냈어요. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 어떻게 지내요? So, yes, that is basically, and if you, 오랜만이야. 네, 맞아요. I'm very happy though that you are back today. That is amazing. But yeah, it has been a long time. I hope that you have, like you said, you have been doing well, but I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for the like. Thank you. So yes, we will be continuing, but also if you want, I also do those Korean study podcasts 3 to 5 times each week. Recently, it has been more 4 times a week. So if you want to join us each time, you will improve as well your understanding. So you can just follow me right here if you are interested. So let's continue with that one. I will be reading it first, and then after that, we will be translating the meaning of that sentence. So 초록색에서 빵갈색 아니면 노란색으로 변해요. So let's translate everything together. 감사합니다. 네. Okay, so we have here, like I mentioned, 감사합니다. 네. So we have here sek in this word. And I told you guys that whenever you are seeing a color, okay, you will see repeating, you use sek at the ending. So it's basically saying the color and then sek as color so that the people know that you are talking about the color. So comment down below if you guys know which color 초록색 would be. So comment down below if you guys know 초록색, what color would that be? So I'm going to be trying to, how can I say that? I'm going to be trying to not teach, not tease, I don't know, to test. That is the word I was searching for. To test your color knowledge, okay? So 초록색, which color would that be? Comment down below if you guys know which color 초록색 would be. So what color could that be? Comment down below if you guys know the answer. 초록색, comment down below if you guys know the answer. I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you guys are doing amazingly. So that is correct. So here it is green. So green color. eso, we have the eso particle, which is a location or time particle. Here in this case, it's more like, because, how can I explain that? Because it is a changes in color, right? So I guess it's kind of not the starting point at green, in green. I guess that could work. Turn. Yes, so that would be here. This verb that we from. Yeah, from, that would be the best way, right? From green. Thank you so much. I was searching. I was like, at wouldn't make sense. In wouldn't make sense. I was missing from. Thank you so much. So technically, I mean, here it's not really a distance, so we wouldn't be able to use, for example, buto, which is a starting point. So I guess the eso kind of has the same purpose as the buto, which is the starting point. Yes, that would be correct. So here we have first green. We have second 빨간색. So which color would that be? 빨간색. Which color would that be? Comment down below. So this is the first, second, 빨간색. Comment down below if you guys know which color that would be. Comment down below if you guys know the answer. Which color would that be? I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is correct. So here, 빨간색 would be red. We have 아니면. So 아니면, as we have seen previously in my Korean study live stream, 아니면 is one way to say or. So this first, this or this. So it's very rare that, for example, it becomes this after this, right? It's one or the other. So that is why that after they turn green, they either turn red or this color. So it cannot be both. So first, second step, and this is still second step, but in a different color. So 아니면 or 노란색. Which color is that now? So we have one color left. Which color means 노란색? Comment down below if you guys know 노란색. What color would that be? I'm gonna give you the answer very, very soon. Comment down below if you guys know 노란색. Which color would that be? Also, if you guys are new, don't forget to follow me just right here. I go live 3 to 5 times each week where we study Korean together, just like this. So comment down below. I'm gonna give you a few more seconds to try and guess the meaning of 노란색. So I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. 노란색 would be yellow. So red or yellow. And then we have the verb 변해요, which is from the verb 변하다, that we have seen the sentence before. Do you guys remember what this verb would mean? Comment down below if you guys know what this verb would mean. 변해요, which is from the verb 변하다. Do you guys remember what this verb means? So we have seen it. You know, before we saw 변하, right? What was it? 변하잖아요? Something like that. But here it's the same verb. So comment down below if you guys remember what 변해요, which is from the verb 변하다, mean. Comment down below if you guys know, if you remember what this verb means. So I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are doing amazingly once again today. That is amazing. So 변하다 is from the verb to change or turn. Okay, turn in some other way. Would that make sense? Turn into something else. So we have, first of all, it starts as green and then it changes, okay, into red or yellow. So that would be how this sentence could be translated. So green from red or yellow changes or turn. So that would be how this sentence would be translated. Let's do one more, okay? These sentences are so easy compared to last week. That is crazy. So we will be continuing to the next sentence. However, if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below.
아니면 노란색으로 변해요. 이렇게 잎의 색깔이 변하는 것을 단풍이라고 해요.
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. 이렇게 잎의 색깔이 변하는 것을 단풍이라고 해요. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for being here today again. How are you doing? So let me repeat that sentence a little bit slower for you guys. 이렇게 잎의 색깔이 변하는 것을 단풍이라고 해요. So let's translate everything together. We have 이렇게. Do you guys know what this word means? So this is something that you might be familiar, especially if you watch dramas or, for example, K-pop content. You will see this word a lot of times. Oops, sorry. Do you guys know the meaning of 이렇게? Comment down below if you guys know what 이렇게 would mean. Do you guys know? Comment down below if you guys know what 이렇게 would mean. So comment down below and I'm going to give you the answer very, very soon. So don't be shy to try and guess the meaning of this word. So I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are doing amazingly. 이렇게 is like this. Okay? This word like this. We have 이때. So we know ip, what does that mean? And we know what 에 means. So together, what does that mean? Comment down below if you know, right? And if you remember what I said earlier today. So what does 이때 together would mean? Comment down below if you guys know what 이때 would mean. Oh, I see one answer. That would be close, but in this case of this context of this video, it has a different meaning. So ip has a different meaning than mouth, sorry. So comment down below because technically lips would be a different, ip would be mouth. So comment down below what ipe would mean. Comment down below if you guys remember what that would mean. I see a lot of great answers, so I will be giving it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is amazing. So here we have ip, which means leaves, and then we have the e particle, like I mentioned. It is something possessive to the leaves. So in English, you would translate that to apostrophe s. So like leaves apostrophe s, which then the possessive would be 색깔, which is color. So what is the possessive of the leaves? It is the color itself. Okay. So the colors of the leaves, so the leaves colors. 변하는, we know that it is the verb 변하다, to change or to turn. Okay. However, in this context of this sentence, it doesn't have the purpose of a verb anymore, but more like a noun. Like most of the time, those type of not conjugation, but whenever you see it in a sentence, in English, you can translate that to verbs ending in ing. Lip is spelled, yes, that would be correct. So, yes. Here, translated more like the verb ending in ing. There is no, how can I say that? Because in Korean, it doesn't have the purpose of a verb anymore. So it's kind of very difficult to define in which category of words that would go into in English. But you can just translate to like changing or turning. That would be the correct way for that. So like a comma. I'm not sure I understand. I hear comma. I mean, not a comma, it's more like the verbs ending in ing. So like turning, changing, that would be how we can translate this. So technically, I think it's more of like a noun, but since it doesn't work the same way in English, it's hard for me to explain exactly like which category of word I would translate that into. But it's like mostly verbs ending in ing. So changing, turning, that is how we can translate that word. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So here, it's like the color of the leaves changing, okay, like this. So that would be how this is the first part, okay? And then we have 것을. So a lot of time you will see 것을 as like something. I think it's also related to 변하는. So I think it kind of goes together as well. But you can also say like this is, for example, the best way that I would translate that is like, for example, if it was the verb 먹다, okay, to 먹는 것, sorry. So if it was 먹는 것, which would be eating, right? It would be the act of eating. So I guess it's like kind of the act of changing. Does that make sense to you guys? Thank you so much for the follow. So here together, 는 것을 would be like the act of doing this action would be changing. So the act of changing. That is how we can translate that part. But in English, we can just say changing. That would be the most simplest way to say that. But technically, it would be the act of changing. And then we have 단풍이라고 해요. So let me just go with this part first. So we have 이라고 해요. 해요 is from the verb 하다, which is to do. However, in this case, whenever there is something added with 이라고, we can kind of translate that to something that is called. Okay, so most of the time, this word, okay, would be how this part is called. You can think of it as changing the verb into a noun. Yeah, exactly. In that case, that could be correct. But in my head, it's still so confusing because I'm like, changing isn't a noun. So, that makes it very difficult for my brain. But I guess we can put that into like the category of noun as well. Even though, it's slightly different. But yes, I guess that could be somewhat correct. So remember that whenever there is 이라고, it's basically saying that it's how something is called. So we call it 단풍. So here, when the colors of the leaves are changing, this is something we call 단풍. Okay, so basically, this part of the sentence is the translation to this word, which is 단풍. When the leaves color changes, it's called 단풍. Also, what is meant with the also what I meant with okay, yeah. You mean like it is separated, right? So it's like the first part of the sentence and then the second part. If that's what you meant, yes, you are correct. I got confused. I was like, but yes, that would be correct. So 단풍 is basically the translation of this. So the colors of the leaves that are changing. And here we have 이라고 해요, which is, this is how it's called. Okay, so we call it 단풍. So that would be how this sentence is translated. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys in this, but that would be how we can translate this sentence. Do you guys have any question? Sadly, today we won't have time to do one more, but we will be able to see each other once again tomorrow. Okay, so stay tuned for tomorrow. We will be continuing this. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, Amelia. So, yes, sadly, that will be the end for today. However, we will continue this podcast tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. Hope you will be able to join us another day. So, I just want to remind to you guys, okay, before I leave, that currently, because this week was Chuseok holiday, if you guys were familiar a little bit, on my Etsy shop, okay, my Korean digital resources is actually 20% off. So if you guys are interested, it is over 40 pages of content. So there is like 2 different 30 days Korean study planner. So this is digital, but you can print it just like here. So you have 2 different structured planner, okay, of 30 days, depending on what you want to focus on. So one is grammar vocab. The other one, is all skills. Also, you have vocabulary practice, also self-filling sheets that you can just fill out yourself. You also have vocabulary activities with more than 200 vocabulary words. So this is a 25% discount that is only going to work until this Sunday. So if you guys are interested, the link is in my description. So it is more than 40 pages, and I think for that price, it is totally worth it. And to be honest, I use that very frequently, especially my 30-day study planner. These are lifesavers. So that would be the end. Oh, I will buy it. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate. So that is it for today. Do you guys have any questions? Also, I forgot to do yesterday, but normally we have an emoji of the week. So each week I give you an emoji. And then the next time you either come to my Korean study session right here, or next time that you see any of my videos in your For You page, you can comment this emoji. So this week's emoji is the full moon emoji. So next time you come to my Korean study live streams, okay, you can just put that emoji, and us that are here right now and me as well will know that you are here this week in our Korean study routine. Or also, if you see any of my videos, okay, on your For You page, you can just comment this video, and it's like a secret code in between each other that we know that only us were here today. What is it? It is the full moon emoji. Since it was Chuseok Monday, so I think this is the perfect emoji to reflect this week. So this week, for the whole week until Sunday, this will be this emoji, and then next Tuesday we will get another emoji. This? Yes, exactly. So the one that kind of looks like cheese, this is this emoji. So full moon emoji. Let's go with that one, because I forgot to give you guys the emoji yesterday for anyone that was there. So yes, next time, okay, this week you can put this emoji everywhere, and I will know that you guys were here in my Korean study live stream. So if you guys don't have any questions, I will go for today, but thank you so much for taking the time to be here as well, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow if you guys are able to make it. So do you guys have any more questions? I will wait one more minute. If not, I will go, but thank you so much for taking the time to be here today as well, and we will continue this podcast tomorrow. Bye. I hope you have a wonderful day. Oh, thank you so much. I really hope you have a wonderful day as well. I hope that everyone will have a wonderful day as well, and thank you so much for taking the time to always be here and want to learn with me, right? Because you could be doing other things, so I'm very, very grateful. Will you do Friday grammar week every week? Yes, exactly. So I have a Friday Korean study tip that will be going on every Friday. So I already filmed this video for this Friday. So if you want to be featured in my next Korean Friday tip next Friday, you can just comment whenever this Friday it's gonna go up. If you have anything you want me to talk about or that you want me to review, you will be able to comment that. So stay tuned, as this video will be on my TikTok channel this Friday. And also, if you guys are familiar, I just want to say very quickly that also all of my Korean study sessions are all available on my YouTube channel. So you can just go Audrey in Seoul on YouTube and you will find them all. So all of my Korean study live streams previously, if you have missed them, you can just rewatch them a couple of days later though, but you will still be able to watch them afterwards, okay? So you can follow me on YouTube right after this live, and if you want to review some study live streams that you were not there, you can do so on my YouTube channel, which is Audrey in Seoul as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, and I will see you tomorrow, okay? 안녕히 계세요, 여러분. 안녕. 고마워요. 내일 봐요. 안녕.